Hi, I'm Brad Browning, and I'm doing an informative speech on the NBA's current one and done rule in basketball. Every single year, the NBA holds a draft where the teams select 30 of the best players in the world to add to their team. Since 2005, there has been a rule implemented called the one and done rule. The one and done rule states that you have to be at least 20 years old during draft, which basically means you have to players go to college for 1 year and then get drafted. Before 2005, you could be drafted at 18, which meant you could come basically straight out of high school and play for the NBA. Many people have problems with the one and done rule because a lot of players think they get cheated out of money and there's a chance of injury. For instance, a current player in college right now, projected to be the best player in the draft, is Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson recently played a game where he had a scary injury. It wasn't serious. Thankfully, it wasn't serious, but if it would have been, that would have dramatically decreased his draft value, therefore decreasing the money he could get paid in the future. The amount of money you get from the first pick to the second pick is like $8 million, and it just keeps getting worse from there. So that already, him playing college, he does not get paid. College players do not get paid, so he's making no money as it is right now. So if he were to be playing for college and get injured, the chances that he could lose millions of dollars. And if it would be an injury that would change his overall athleticism and ability in general, he could be losing hundreds of millions of dollars because he'd never be able to play the same. And this rule has been implemented since 2005, so many players, just like Zion Williamson, came out of college, and some have been injured and unable to play. For example, people like Greg Oden. Greg Oden was one of the best players in college, had a horrible injury, and he was never the same, and he was considered an NBA bust, which means he was not very good, therefore he didn't make very much money. Before 2005, there were many great players who came out of high school. Notable names such as LeBron James, Amar'e Stoudemire, and Tracy McGrady. These were all Hall of Fame caliber players. Kobe Bryant was another one mentioned. These players were drafted at the age of 18, and they had wonderful careers. So many people see that there's no point in them going to college. But the way the one and done rule was compensated for is if Zion Williamson his player has an insurance policy. If he were to be drafted below the pick of 16, he would get compensated for $16 million. But a lot of people think that's not a very good compensation because if he was never injured, he would be making hundreds of millions of dollars. If he does get injured, that $16 million isn't going to look like very much to him. And recently, there has been talks about them abolishing the one and done rule again. They don't know for sure when that's going to happen. They think it's going to be around the year of 2020 to maybe 2022. They're not totally sure. It's not confirmed. But if that were to be true, that draft would have 18-year-old kids from high school. Also, the kids who couldn't get drafted the previous year in college would be in that draft. So it's considered like a double draft, if you can understand. The reason people want this to happen is not only because if you come out of high school, that money, that first big contract you get can change your life. Instead of going to college, you can have a chance of injury, and you just play 1 year, basically just trying to waste time to be able to go to the NBA and make money. So the only other option to keep the one and done rule is that people argue for is that you can just pay the college players. And many people think that would be a good way to compensate for it because the NCAA makes millions of dollars on these games. Duke's one of the biggest colleges in history, and Zion Williamson, millions of people pay to see him play every single game, but he gets no money for it. So that's another reason why people want the one and done rule abolished. But if they could just implement a way to pay the athletes, then people probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But it's still yet to be seen if they're going to actually abolish the one and done rule. It's not certain, but many people believe they should, and I don't know if you think it should be, but there's definitely going to be a change made. We're not sure completely what the change will be, but it's just not right to cheat these kids out of all this money that people believe. If they were able to go to college and play basketball just after out of high school, they would get so much more money, and that's just how most people believe, and that's what the whole one and done rule is really about and all the controversy. And I just thought I'd give you an information essay on what exactly it's all about and why people complain so much. Thank you. I'm Brad Browning.